These have been intensive sportive days between the World Cup and the College World Series in Omaha. A lot of people are praying more than often. After losing 3-0, Argentina lost against Croatia, I thought that I need to adopt this attitude of rejoicing in the joys of others. As now I root for Mexico or Germany, or even maybe better decision to just switch sports and go for baseball, at least this week. And it's tough to rejoice with those who rejoice. And today we celebrate the mystery of the birth of John the Baptist. And we can reflect in this attitude of admiration and the power that admiration can have in our lives. If you think of the word admire from the Latin root ad mirar, it means to look towards. On the contrary, the word envy is also with the root word video, envidiar, video to see, like video games. So it's two very much contrasting attitudes in life, to admire and to envy. Before the joy, the success, the triumph of others, we can rejoice with those who rejoice, and that's admiration, or we can get sad with the joy of others. We don't rejoice with those who rejoice. And the mystery of Jesus and John, Elizabeth and Mary, and Zachariah, they are mysteries of admiration. Just think of the life of Elizabeth, how she admired Mary. She learned to rejoice with the joys of Mary. When Mary comes to visit her, she says to her cousin, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb." So basically she says, "Blessed are you." One woman telling to another woman, "You are the most beautiful woman on earth. You are the most beautiful one, even more than me. And I rejoice in that. I admire you for that." She does not envy Mary. And similarly with her son, it says like, "Blessed is the fruit of thy womb." If you are a mother, you can understand that it's not so easy to say, "Your son is better than my son." And that's what Elizabeth did. "Your son is better than my son. I admire him. I am happy for my son, John the Baptist, but I am also happy for your son." She did not envy. And the same John the Baptist. He leapt for joy at the presence of Christ. He rejoiced that his cousin was greater than him. He admired him. "I am not worthy to unfasten his sandals," we read in the second reading. But also, if you go deeper into the reading of today, we see also the attitude of admiration and rejoicing with the joys of others in the relatives and neighbors who contemplated the mystery of John the Baptist. People rejoice in the first place with Elizabeth. The Gospel says that when Elizabeth, her time to be a mother arrived, the Gospel says her neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown his great mercy toward her, and they rejoiced with her. So she could not have children, she was old in age, and when through the intervention of God she was able to conceive her son John the Baptist and then give birth to him, that joy expanded, went to the relatives and neighbors. They rejoiced with Elizabeth. They admire her. They look towards her with joy. And similarly with Zachariah. He was mute because he doubted the message of the angel in the temple. But when he says that they asked him what should be the name, he asked to bring the tablet, and he wrote in the tablet, John in his name. John is his name. So here you see that the church is not behind the times. The church is always ahead of times. John used the tablet to write the name. That's a joke, in case you don't know me. But then, when he was obedient to the angel, immediately his mouth was open, his tongue freed, he spoke blessing God, and fear came upon all their neighbors. And all these matters were discussed throughout the hill country of Judea. So people also admire the miracle that happened in the life of Zechariah. The relatives and neighbors, they rejoice with both Elizabeth and Zechariah. They rejoice. They experience this miracle, not in their lives, but this miracle in the life of this family they knew. And they admire that. They rejoice with that. And this is a very beautiful and important attitude in life. This ability to rejoice with those who rejoice. This ability to admire the goodness of God shown to others. Many times your team, like Argentina, might be losing, and you need to look at the life of others and rejoice that God is good with them as well, and not envy when others are winning, but to admire them. So this week I invite you to this brief exercise. Every day, try to find one Zechariah and one Elizabeth next to your life. Many times in the day we have lost time. When you are in traffic, or when you are driving or doing dishes and your mind wanders, or when you just find 5 minutes that you did not expect. In those moments, try to reflect. Try to see how the goodness of God, how the mercy of God has been shown to people next to you. Try to find one Zechariah who experienced or witnessed a miracle. Try to find one Elizabeth who experienced the mercy of God's action. Try to see the goodness of God expressed not in your life, but in the life of those next to you, your neighbors and relatives. I did this exercise yesterday. I tried to do my own homework. And at the end of the day, reviewing the day, well, besides the triumph of the beavers, the other blessings of the day were, one, I witnessed a wedding of a couple who did a retreat 1 year ago. They came back to faith. They were together but not married in the church. They have 2 daughters. And he received communion after 20 years of not receiving communion. And she received her first communion in the day of her wedding. So this is not something that happened to me, but I witnessed the mercy of God, the goodness of God shown to them. In the moment of communion, they were crying of emotion and joy for the goodness of God to them. So in an indirect way, I witnessed the mercy of God. And then in the evening mass, this couple who got married last year, they brought their first baby, their first daughter. They come to this parish and they were so joyful, so grateful. God was good with them. And maybe in the moment I did not rejoice as much, but then as I reflected, I started to grow in the sense of God's goodness to them. When you do this, one, you begin to love those people in a deeper way, because you can realize God has been good with them. And two, when you are more open to the action of God, like beyond your own life, this action begins to multiply. And you begin to sense more and more the goodness and the love of God toward His creation. So this week, try to find your Elizabeth and your Zacharias every day. Try to practice this virtue of admiration as a way of avoiding envy. Don't think you got the short stick. Elizabeth was able to admire. because she realized God has been good with Mary. God has been good with Jesus. But God has also been good with me. And for this reason I rejoice.